Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tips for Success in Online Classes at Western Illinois University. This is on behalf of Rocky's Resources and the University Advising and Academic Support Center. As classes are moving online this semester, we want to provide you with some really helpful tips for conquering your online classes and doing your best. So, first, we will start with an agenda. So, finding the right mindset. That's really important. We'll talk all about that for online classes. Also communicating with professors and staff, what that will look like and how that might change. Some time management and organization tips, which can be really for any classes, but especially with online, there's some different things there. Eliminating some distractions from working from home or in a public space. And tips for procrastination. And then there's also a productivity video that we will leave. We won't watch it during this recorded presentation, but these slides will be posted where all the links will be clickable that we go through today, and the productivity video will be then available as well. So as for the mindset, so this is really important because as things are moving online, making sure to treat your online class like a real course. Even though you might not be going to class every Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 10 to 10:50, it's still important to treat the class like you are still doing that regular set time. So making sure that you're still working on the coursework at a regularly scheduled time during the week. Schedule time to attend the course and actually complete the coursework during this time. Asking professors, sometimes students in class will ask quick or easy questions before, after, during class. And if you don't have a live lecture, or even if you do, this can be more intimidating for students to ask online. So it's super important that you're willing to ask questions via email, or if your professor gives you a Western Online as their best contact on announcements, or via phone, whatever's the best preferred method to contact each of your professors. If you have questions, don't be afraid to ask. That's really big, and we'll talk all about communication too. But make sure that you're building and maintaining that relationship just as if it was an online or an in-person class. So either way. Staying motivated, this is huge. So you're here and you're in this class for a reason. Whether it's your favorite class ever, or if it's a gen ed class that you need to take, or you're exploring a new major or minor, you're here for a reason, and thinking about that bigger goal of you're here to graduate, right? So and lead into that career that you're really excited about. So thinking about why you're here, what other reasons you're here. I can't quite list them all, because that's so up to you as an individual, but thinking about that. A quick video about staying motivated for classes. Again, all of these links I'm not going to actually click on during the recorded presentation, but they are available in the slides that we posted along with this presentation. So we have a nice quick video. It's like a minute long. It's one tip about how to stay motivated for online classes here. And then another short video about self-care, because self-care is really important. You don't want to feel like you're constantly in school 24/7 with responding to emails or doing things. Like set aside specific times to take care of schoolwork, take care of if you work, or if you need to take care of yourself too. So leaving time for self-care and self-care activities. Setting goals, this is huge. And so SMART goals are really the best goals you can set. So we go through all of the guidelines of SMART goals, how to set goals, and what's not mentioned on there is maybe why they're so important. So it's important to set goals so that you're not feeling just kind of directionless with a semester, right? And like, so it's really great to remember that like your online course is a real course, to stay motivated, and then to set goals of like what you want to accomplish. And so even if you know your paper's due May 1st, what are you going to do in between then? It's not going to be hopefully a one session of sitting in front of the computer for 5 hours and finishing that paper all in one go really quick, right? Maybe it's spreading that out over the course of several weeks, especially if it's like a big paper, and getting help using your resources along the way, which we'll talk about some resources as well. So setting goals. So we'll go through all of our SMART goals on our website through that link. Also persistence. So online learning requires independence, motivation, and responsibility, but don't forget to ask for help when you need it. So it's really important that you are motivated and that you want to persist through this, but also it's okay, you're not alone. There's so many people here to help you. Your professor, tutors, the Writing Center, advisors, all all different kinds of people on campus and virtually to really help you to persist and do really well in your online classes. Thinking about communication. So some recommendations for emailing professors and staff. These are just a few. We actually have a full, if you look at number 2 here, we have a full email etiquette guide with a really nice example actually. So if you wanted to click on that link, that's really helpful. But these are just some quick things that are pretty common to think about that would be helpful for emailing professors and other staff via email. So writing in full grammatically correct sentences. So like THX or LOL or emojis, like those aren't always seen as professional, especially by professors. So making sure that you're just being like polite, professional, like whenever you're communicating with them, including a subject line. If it says no subject, which is like the default, if you don't fill in a subject line, professors might not know what class you're talking about, that you're even their student. If you know they're just quickly reading down the subject lines of their emails. I always recommend that students put what class they're in. So it's great if you're in COM 130, but what class? Maybe that professor teaches 5 sections of COM 130 and you're in their Tuesday, Thursday, 12:30 p.m. class. That'd be really good to put in the email, like COM 130, Tuesday, Thursday, the time or whatever time it is, and then a little brief, maybe why you're contacting them. Is this about your exam grades, or is this about questions about the new syllabus, things like that. So just a quick little intro of why you're reaching out and what class you're even in of theirs, so that they know you're their student. And then communicating clearly. So this is really challenging for when you're not face-to-face, but sarcasm and jokes don't always transfer via email. So that's just something to keep in mind. Making sure that you're just being very like straightforward and polite and all of that. Check your email often. This is so huge. Please check your email often. At least a few times a day would be super helpful. I know that when you're learning online, you can feel just swamped and overwhelmed by emails. But if you go through them more frequently, it becomes less of a burden. So if you pick, you know, maybe you're gonna check your email at 9, 12, and 3 every day, that's great. But if you only are checking it once a week, you're gonna miss out on so many updates. And especially if you're in online classes, you're gonna have things due more than once a week, right? Especially between all of your classes. So making sure that you really check your email often. That's the best way for professors to communicate with you and for you to communicate with your professors to get course updates, especially if you have your Western Online. There's a way to turn on your notifications so that you can get emails every time your course announcements are updated on Western Online. So definitely be sure to turn that setting on. Yeah, and then the last thing was just to check your full email, our full email etiquette guide through the link there. Time management and organization. So this is a pretty big deal, whether you're an online student or not. So this is something that hopefully the skills that we talk about here will be things you can continue to develop throughout your time in school. But making sure that you read your syllabus, especially if it's an updated one, and checking Western Online. Those sound so simple, but it's really important. But it's not always quite enough to just read the syllabus or just check Western Online, but putting that somewhere, putting that down. Otherwise, it can be so hard to keep track of what's going on, especially when there's not a professor there to remind you of when things are going to be due. Oh, this is due next class period. If it is all just, you know, virtual lectures or things like that, there's no one in person there to really remind you about things, but your planner can be there in person to remind you. So thinking about the syllabi and any course announcements for your classes that outline like what you need to have done and when. The best way to keep track of that really is a planner. So that could be electronic or paper. It's whatever works best for you. I think that a lot of students tend to do well if it is a paper planner. It can be really hard to remember to check your planner consistently. If it's not something you're used to, if you write everything in it, that's great, but you're probably not going to want to pick it up again unless you're really motivated to do that. So you could set an alarm. If you're going to check your email, like the example I use is at 9 a.m., 12 p.m., and 3 p.m., maybe right after that, that's when you check your planner. Or maybe it's after work every day or after lunch every day, or just a certain time that you can get in a routine of like, this is the time to check my planner. Maybe it's the first thing you do when you wake up to say like, what do I have due this week or today or that kind of thing. But in addition to thinking about what is due for your classes overall. Maybe you have a bunch of things due over the next several weeks, making a to-do list. So when will you actually get that all done? When will you have time to do that? So planning things out is so important. Setting goals for yourself will really help you visually see what you have to get done, and you can be realistic with yourself. I think it's always better to allow more time than not enough. So if you're working on an online module or an online assignment and you're like, I know I can get this done in an hour, give yourself an hour and a half or 2 hours, just because it's always better, at least I think, to have some time back in your day versus taking more time out. So if you only plan to work on the online module from 2 to 3 and 3 o'clock rolls around and you're really excited to like hit the gym or to work on your next assignment or to watch a certain TV show, you're not going to want to stay to finish that assignment. You're maybe going to want to like hastily go through it, or say you'll finish it later. If you give yourself 2 hours saying that you'll do it from 1 to 3, then at 3 you could be like all done. So, or if you finish early, then you could be like, wow, I have so much extra time in my day. What am I going to do with all this extra time? So it's just different ways of thinking about to-do lists. And so, yeah, making schedules, that was kind of blended together, but making schedules. So think about how you organize your time for this week. The to-do list, maybe things that you want to get done, like Monday, you have 5 things to do, Tuesday, you have 3 things to do. But schedules is actually really planning that time out. So thinking about like, yeah, when will you do it? And I kind of give that example, but we have a really, really helpful worksheet. So if you do want to plan out like each hour of your day, I know that can be intimidating for some people. What if it is something you wanted to do? We have a really, really helpful worksheet about planning for organization, and you can just print it and fill it in, and it's just already kind of done for you. There you go. And then thinking about a timetable schedule. So these are just both 2 different ways to make schedules. You can use a planner, you can use Google Calendar. There's an infinite amount of apps in the App Store, Google Play Store, things like that, where you can create a planner that and a to-do list schedules that really best fit you. This is all about finding that good fit. Eliminate distractions. So keep your phone on Do Not Disturb. That is as big across the room or just off altogether. So when you're studying, if you have your phone face up next to you and it lights up, you're going to want to check that right away. And even if you flip it over, that might not quite do the trick, right? So putting it somewhere that either like across the room is great, or in your backpack, zippered up. You have to like really, really think about it. It's like an instinct to check it. You have to actually like create a barrier for yourself to try to find it and check it. That can be really helpful. Do Not Disturb, that way it doesn't light up and distract you, or just off. I know not a lot of people really turn their phones off anymore, and you might want it on for emergencies, but that is also always an option too. So turning off Disney Plus, Netflix, Hulu, all the different things out there, turn those off, get focused. You can think that while you're watching a marathon of The Office, you're getting a lot done, but you're probably more focused on that. So just turning off the TV, focusing on your work that you're trying to get done. Sitting up, oh my gosh. So a lot of students will try to lay down in their bed or like sit up in their bed and do all their homework, but being in bed while you do your work is just typically so much less productive for students. If you actually get up, go to a desk, a table, a counter, somewhere that you're sitting up, you're more likely to really be more productive. Because when you're in bed, you might want to just turn on the TV or fall asleep, take a nap, that kind of thing. So make sure you sit up and get ready to work. And then if listening to music helps you, go for it. There's different studies that say music either is or is not helpful. I do think it could be a little distracting if you're like listening to like your favorite song that you have to sing along to the entire time that you're studying. Like you're probably more thinking about the song then, right? Or like this really good new album that you want to listen to. Versus if it is something like classical music or a movie soundtrack or piano, just something like more instrumental in the background, that can maybe help you focus a little bit more than something that's maybe like your favorite thing that you love to listen to, because that could be a little distracting. Finding a consistent and quiet place to work on your schoolwork. So is that, where is that in your house, or where is that in the library or different coffee shop, different spaces? So thinking about where is the best place for you to study, and then thinking about the lighting. This might sound a little odd, but like if you're in a room that gets really dark and there's not a lot of light in there, you have like one lamp or something, that can be really hard to then see your schoolwork and see what's going on and kind of make you tired, that kind of thing. So making sure that you have good lighting when you're doing your schoolwork as well. So then some tips for procrastination. So thinking about a to-do list or a done list. We've already talked about a to-do list. So I have 5 things to do Monday. I have 3 things to do Tuesday. But you can also think about it as a done list. So that would be from, for an example, from 9 to 10, I finished X, Y, and Z. And then from 10 to 11, this is what I finished. So kind of instead of, sometimes a to-do list can be so overwhelming. So instead of a big to-do list of all these things you have to do, thinking about, okay, I have so many hours in the day that I'm awake and ready to do stuff for school, right? So what did I accomplish in that time? Maybe every day you're planning to work on schoolwork from 11 to 4. And what did you accomplish in that time? Like, what did you really get done from 11 to 4? Is it enough? Do you need more time? That can really help you assess, do you need to plan out more time in your day to study or get things done? The under 20-minute rule. This is kind of an arbitrary number. So it could be under 10-minute rule, under 15, under 30. But really this idea is stop pushing things off until later. If you had a task that was 20 minutes to complete or even get a significant chunk of that task done, and you're just kind of, wasting it, like, oh, it's only 20 minutes, so I can't get it like done during this time, or, oh, I don't want to it takes you so long to get started on something. All of those minutes really add up every time you say that oh, I can do it later, I'll have this whole chunk of time later. If you just use those little bits of time in between things, they can really add up and you can see a lot of progress. It might not be as much progress as you want in like one session, but if it's something that can get done quickly or you have that time, making sure that you try to use it. Eliminating interruptions. We definitely already talked about this, but it's just really important, and it helps with procrastination too. So distractions are a big influence on like procrastinating. It's so easy to just to pay attention to TV that's already turned on. And then prioritizing one thing each day. So like if something was causing you stress and all you did today was accomplish that one thing or make huge progress on that one thing, how would you feel? Hopefully feel a lot better. So that's something to really think about, and to just pick one thing to prioritize. Like if something is stressing you out, sometimes the first instinct can be to push it away. Like, oh, I'll get to it later, It's such a big project, like it's so much to do. But if you actually started it today, would you just feel better? Probably. It's not the easy answer, but hopefully you feel better. And then treat yourself. So establish a reward system for yourself while you're completing your task. So that could be like food driven. So if you want to have like a pile of M&Ms, and for every paragraph you finish of your paper, you like have some M&Ms, or you maybe every paragraph you watch, every page you watch like a 15 minutes of a show, or after you finish an assignment, maybe that's when you get to check your phone, or different things. You can pick different time limits, pick different rewards, but there's different ways to really like reward yourself for getting through with your task. Like if you're just dying to check your phone, tell yourself like, if I finish this amount of my paper, or this amount of my module, or these lecture notes, then you'll feel so much better when you can say that you finished those that assignment or that to-do list item, and now you can treat yourself with this reward of like checking your phone or whatever it is. And then we have this video with a wrap up of productivity. I'm not going to play it on the screen for this recorded version, but it's a really, really quick video. It's only like, I think 3 minutes, and it's really helpful about productivity, some things about procrastination, and I think it's really beneficial to watch as well. So definitely be sure to go through these links and videos and all of that. There's not like too much. I wouldn't put in like a 10-minute video or anything crazy. Lastly, our full list of resources. This is so huge. So we have all these really, really cool resources available. All of these academic success tools, including tips on effective studying, the email etiquette guide I mentioned, some note-taking tips, the SMART goals guide I mentioned. There's that study schedule, time management calculator. So like how many hours do you have in the week? And how many are you spending in class versus sleeping versus, other things. That's a really cool calculator thing. And then a weekly schedule, all tips for working in groups. And then these are huge resources, these last two. Tutoring is available online. Tutoring is available online, and we have links and instructions on the tutoring page. If you click that link, but tutoring is available for your classes, for a lot of classes. So be sure to utilize tutors as a resource. They can be so helpful, especially when you're not seeing that professor face to face. And then our University Writing Center, always a wonderful resource, whether it's on campus or online, but the University Writing Center is super helpful, and they're willing to look at papers, and they can help you. You don't have to be finished with your paper to go to them. I think that's a really common misconception, but if you're stuck on your paper, you can go to the Writing Center. If you just want someone to look over your grammar, or if you are just trying to get started on your paper, maybe you're getting a prompt from your professor, you ask your professor for clarification, but you can't think of like ideas, you're not really sure where to start or how to even plan out the paper. Maybe this is the longest paper you've ever written, or your first research paper, or your first annotated bibliography. The Writing Center is here to help you. They can work with you online. They're all super helpful, just like the tutors, all very helpful, and they're here and excited to help you. So that is really all that we have for this presentation on online tips to help you be successful. And we hope that you enjoyed these tips. You can definitely go like our Rocky's Resources page on Facebook, and then check out the tutoring website. That is where we have those academic success tools, and then more tutoring info as well. So be sure to check those out. And thank you so much for listening and watching today. Thank you.